Okay, well, hey, welcome everybody to another Tech Tip Tuesday. Here we are right in the very beginning of February. Wow, I love it. The month of love, right? So we're going to share the love with you guys tonight and see if we can solve some mysteries. So my name is Ken Close. I am a member just like most of you guys here in the United States, and I bring my experience and my knowledge and as much of my know-how to the table to help us solve the mysteries. I've got tonight Freddie Perez as co-host from the technical side. I've got also Stephen Keller, another amazing gentleman that he and I have done some great videos before in terms of building tools and stuff for the field. So I'm super happy he's here. And in the background, we have, who do we have back there today? We have,
is it Taylor?
I think our Taylor is here, right? Right. Give us a little note there in the chat for me, will you, Taylor? I think that's who we get to be blessed with from the customer service department in the background on our chat. So thank you for being here. Appreciate that a lot. So here's what we do, folks. This is a chat-based forum in which you put your questions in the chat and we will bring them live onto the call and we'll sort them out, solve them, unpack them, and do our very best to come up with solutions. So what we can do is we can talk about the pink dot and the blue dot and all the technology around that. We can talk about the HealAdvisor stuff. We can talk about stuff around the applications as well as the operations of the Healy. What we can't talk about is any diagnostics or healing or any preventative medicine or any of the frequencies in which may be applicable for a condition. That's not why we're here. All right. We're also not talking about the back office. Sometimes we may throw a little hint in there every now and then. But anyway, that's what we're doing here tonight. So hopefully you guys have brought some juicy questions for us to unpack, and we're going to do our very best to do so. Does that sound good? All right. Okay, guys, go ahead and fire up that chat and let's get started. Believe me, if you don't put anything in there, we're going to come up with subjects to talk about anyway. So, you know, that's one of the things that we're pretty good at. What do we have? Anything in there yet, guys?
Nothing in there yet, but you know, oh wait, somebody there, here comes one. Go ahead.
All right. So let's see. Somebody's friend has a problem launching the Blue Dot app. It spins like it's connecting, but nothing happens. She followed the sequence and the troubleshooting. Any other advice? So I like the description, spins and nothing happens. So in other words, you know, like what's actually spinning. So in other words, when you first open the Blue Dot app, okay, the first thing that happens is it asks, there's a little disclaimer there and you have to say next. You go to the next part and, you know, it's going to kind of walk you through a process. So I would love to see more, would put more in there in the chat about exactly what you're talking about is spinning, what process. Are you even able to get past the disclaimer? Are you actually in the synchronization part and there's just spinning, or just actually not spinning, but progressing? Let me know a little bit more. Okay. Appreciate that.
Yeah, that sounds typical of what we've been experiencing here for a while. It's the sync might be suspended there, like at a 10% mark or something like that.
Yeah. And also too, remember, yesterday was the end of a huge promotion, right? And the same server that supports all the databases is the same server that supports the shop page and the back office. So when it gets really, really busy, then timelines for synchronizations, for uploads, downloads, all that kind of stuff elongates a lot. And also, by the way, let's see, we're in a maintenance phase for a little bit today. Is it today? Yeah, it is today. There's a bit of a maintenance phase going on.
I just logged on to all the sites that look fine to me. So I didn't get any messages.
Okay.
On my .healy, my Healy whatever, the first one, or Healy.shop, both look fine. So.
Okay. So Stephen logged on and it looks like opening the shop page, opening the back office, all that's great. So meaning that the slowdown is caught up. Still, there was some maintenance going on. So what I would say is if we don't solve the mysteries or come up with some ideas tonight, try it again tomorrow. Okay. Because that's going to be over with tomorrow. All right. What else we got?
There was a question there. I believe you just answered. How long are we going to be down? So
Yeah.
it should be done though. It should be done. The process done now.
Yeah, it should be complete. Again, I always allow 24 hours because sometimes when there's an update, there's a little bit of a adjustment to be made afterwards. But by tomorrow, I would say there'd be no problem. Okay. Here's
Someone
one.
looks like they've got just a weird issue with their pink dot reverting to no programs available over and over and over. Yeah, it's an interesting thing.
So when it comes to that pink dot app, the app, when you load it on your smart device, okay, the blue dot and the pink dot app, when you load them on your smart device, the very first time that you populate them, in other words, you synchronize with your account, then they populate all of the programs into the app on your smart device. So if there is some kind of an issue with every time you open it, that it's blank, then there's something wrong with the app. I would highly suggest that you delete that app and bring in a brand new and make sure that, of course, the only way to bring in a brand new one is to go to your app store or your Google Play Store, whether you're Android or iOS, and load that app from there. And then, let it load and then resync with your pink dot program with your Healy. There's a lot there in that. And Linda, I hear you. It can feel frustrating, but believe me, there's a solution. Okay. And it's just one of the things we got to unpack and find out what's going on there, because these smart devices, we're using them on a variety of different smart devices, everything from an iPhone to a tablet to even like an iPod. People are using it on that. And sometimes these devices have the last say as to how the effectiveness is, even though we've been using it for a while. If your smart device isn't up to date, or if for some reason it is maxed out in its software capability, remember that an older smart device will max out eventually in terms of the new operating system that platform is using. It will. This is unfortunately some of the built-in obsolescence that the manufacturers are doing. So your hardware won't have the capability to keep up with the newest software. And there will be a point that happens. I'm not saying that's happening, but it's possible. Okay. If we didn't get that, any ideas for you in that dialogue, then please put your question back in there, or seeking more clarification. Okay. And then Taylor's asking you for your serial number, so you can give that to Taylor and hopefully find out what's going on. Any other ones? What else we got? See, so here's one. It seems I have to have Bluetooth on and phone near me for the pink dot to work. That you have a potential client who doesn't want to have exposure to Bluetooth. Should I tell them let's see. Should I tell her new versions allow the user to disconnect from Bluetooth? Well, here's the thing. Here's how it works. Let me explain to you guys the purpose and the necessity of the Bluetooth and when. Okay. In the pink dot app, to initially load the app with the features that your edition owns. Okay. When you purchase an edition, there are features that go along with it. So the first time that you go to synchronize the app with the Healy, it has to have a Bluetooth connection. Why? Because every single Healy has a serial number on it. And that's the way the pink dot knows what features your account has purchased. Okay. So it's going to have to connect with the Bluetooth. So that's necessary. Fine. So we connect with the Bluetooth. They synchronize. Essentially, an update is sent through your smart device's data transfer modality, whether it is your Wi-Fi or it is your data stream on your cellular network. Either way, there's going to have to be data sent from the Healy server to your app on your smart device. Now that has nothing to do with Bluetooth, okay, but it does have to do with Wi-Fi. Okay, so if you have Wi-Fi turned off because of some conditions around radio waves, then it's not going to work. So we have to make sure that's on. Now, once you've got everything loaded on your Pink Dot app within your smart device, then to run Healy and run a program, you simply choose the program from your app, say start, and you'll see the Bluetooth light on the Healy flashing rapidly. And that's sending and receiving information from the app. So the app is sending all of the protocol for that particular program to the Healy hardware, to the memory in the Healy. At the end of that, the program will begin. After that's complete, you can actually turn the app off. You can turn the phone off. You can bury the phone in sand, whatever you want to do. The Healy now has all of the program contents to do its full on job. And then you don't need any Bluetooth again from that point, for that program. Now you won't be able to adjust any of the intensity settings, but like I said, the Bluetooth is not necessary after that initial load. Okay, follow me so far? So now you're good. Now the new Healy versions 229, the firmware versions 229 and above, have the ability on the app itself, the little green button at the top of the app to turn Bluetooth off. Again, same function, by the way, same function. It's just to turn it back on is a different function. And some people don't know how to turn it back on after they've manually turned it off in the app. You actually have to go to the Healy and you have to turn it on, push the button twice, on, and then let it go. And then it will actually deactivate that Bluetooth enabling function. So understand that Bluetooth is only used in a small portion of the actual necessity of operating Healy. Once that program is loaded to the Healy hardware, you don't need the Bluetooth, you don't need the app anymore. The app is just a monitoring device or a tweaking device for the intensity. Okay, that's it. That's all it does. The Healy does all the work. So hopefully that made sense and you guys got a little bit. Now on the Blue Dot app, that's a whole different story. A whole different story, because on the Blue Dot app, when you're running the Healy in vibrate mode via the Blue Dot app, it has to have the Bluetooth all the time. It's a one-to-one interaction between the Healy hardware and the app, and you can't turn that off or the function stops. It's just necessary. Okay. All right. Anything else, guys, you want to add?
Well, I just, it's funny, that subject there, because I had someone last week and they were asking, okay, I can turn the Bluetooth off manually or inside the app. And after the program's loaded, it's going to run with the Bluetooth off. But what happens if I turn the phone off? Is it still going to work because it's loaded up temporarily inside the Healy device?
Yeah. That's a great question, because honestly, again, you can turn the phone off as well. Again, the hardware, the full program functionality is loaded on the Healy hardware. This little guy right here. You need no external influence at that point. It's done all from here, which is amazing, because it's doing the things it's doing is it's interacting with the resonance of your body. It's choosing specific frequencies from the resource pool that particular program is trying to accomplish. And then and uniquely implementing those into your body in real time. The Healy's doing it, not the app. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So someone's asking about, they said you can modify the relevance, intensity, and potency of an OR result and then vibrate. What would motivate you to change these parameters? Could you provide a case? So you're not actually modifying the relevance, intensity, or potency. You're changing how it's displayed in front of you. Is that accurate? So it's
Yeah.
not changing how it eventually vibrates. It's just how you sort the information as well.
Right. So when you run in vibrate mode from the Aura scan, all of the data, all of the findings, let's put it that way, all the findings within that Aura scan is set. If you go in and you if you modify or tailor any of the content, then it's going to be modified to whatever, it's going to be adjusted to whatever you've set. But you run it from its entirety, from its original findings, and you're going to see if you're really not going to change anything. All the frequencies are going to be running there to accommodate the alignment that was found from the scan. So working on the alignments, whether it be, whatever the key that you're trying to work on, right? So I think perhaps, and so Tom, there are ways in which you can take some of these scans and modify them, make them your own content, essentially make them something from your, customized. That's possible, but then it's not going to pertain to the original scan, the original content of the scan that was that moment was designed for, I guess you might say. Okay, so anyway, yeah, that's tailoring. Let's see.
Just alignment and masking, then hangs.
So Heather says, are you reading the same one, Stephen?
Yeah. Issues with temp hanging up at 10% sync for 3 to 6 hours. Again, it's like, make sure not a lot is on your phone, but also quality of internet connection. And sometimes time of month where we got a whole bunch of stuff going on may also delay it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yesterday, I'm telling you, people that were trying to synchronize yesterday, sorry. I mean, for the most part, it was really delayed, because yesterday again was the last day of a very huge special, and everybody was trying to order, and even the ordering process was getting delayed. And yeah, I heard all kinds of stuff about it. And I'm in many of the different chat rooms, and plus my team is always talking about what's going on with them, and I'm just like, yep, I get it. But that particular condition, that was a big deal. About 4 versions back of the app, and there was some work done in the way in which the app accessed the server and that kind of stuff. So there was some work already done to remedy that. But even after, I would say tomorrow, you're probably going to have a whole lot better result in terms of those updates. And as Stephen said, it's not necessarily the Healy itself or the app itself. It could very well be your internet connection, or I should say, let's go this way, the way in which your smart device is transferring data. It may not be through Wi-Fi, however you're doing it. So some people may not even be aware of how that's happening with their smart device. You see up at the top corner of your phone, that little fan looking thing, and people assume, okay, well, that's the Wi-Fi. And you got all full bars, right? The full fan. Okay, great. But all that means is that you got proper radio signal between the smart device and the router in your proximity, whether you're at a coffee shop or at your house. It just means you have proper radio signal. It doesn't mean you have proper data transfer on that radio signal. Okay. So you can still have a very, very low bandwidth of information highway there on that radio signal, and then that's going to mean a very, very slow interaction between the cloud and your smart device. In fact, it can even time out, or it can never actually update. So that's some things to think about. You can switch over off of Wi-Fi onto your network data stream, whatever that is, your network data plan. Sometimes if you're in a very populated area, you're going to have like 5G or LTE. Those are a couple of words that mean the speed in which data can be transferred. It's on that particular that modality, and it may be faster than the Wi-Fi that you're connected to. All right. If it's in your home, and you're used to a very fast Wi-Fi at your home, then my suggestion might be to go and reset your router. Just go and turn it off, unplug it, right? Plug it back in, let it boot up, because there may be some updates on your router you didn't know about. How many of you guys turn your router on and off? Right? Not very often. But see, even your Wi-Fi or internet service provider does push what we call push updates to their hardware out in the field. And so that just makes the performance better. And if we haven't turned it off for a while, then none of those updates can be pushed onto the hardware. So that's a good idea too, to shut that off, reset it, and try again. Okay. All right. What else we got here?
So Heather, I think too, had mentioned that she synced it up fine with an old Android. So, you know, again, just keep in mind that the Healy device initially was designed to work with Android phones. They have had so many patches, and the techs have kept busy working on having, even from the, I think you have an Apple 5 or 5S. I had a 5.6, and from past 2 years, they've had to continuously, you know, every time an update comes, they've got to check those patches and make sure. The 13 has been a problem. I've heard Heather's issue many times. So yeah, I think once they are able to catch up a little bit, maybe they'll discover a patch that's going to satisfy that issue as well.
Yeah, there's we're trying to use this on a lot of different products, a lot of different smart devices. And even the particular hardware that you have, the older hardware, like I mentioned earlier in our conversation here, older hardware is going to have a cap in terms of the software it will allow to update to. And right now, Healy requires a version 11 or higher on the iOS operating system. I think it's also 11 on the Android, right? Or higher. So that's required just to operate these apps. And if you are, just think about this from a logical position. If you are using a device that is maxed out at that level 11 or version 11 of the operating system, and it's an older device that maybe only has about, when I say only, but only has about 16 gig of memory, and your smart device, you've been using it for a long time, you've got a lot of pictures and videos and apps and stuff like that, and your smart device, the memory is consumed by more than 75% on all these other things that are going on. And then you've got 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 apps open in the background, and you're trying to use Healy. I promise you it's going to fail. I promise you it's going to struggle, because there's too many things that smart device is trying to do, and its resources are consumed. So what do? Well, you know, you free up some memory, number one, on your smart device. Get rid of stuff. Maybe you even just get one smart device that's dedicated to using your Healy with, and you've got nothing on there, no other apps, right? You can get you don't have to have a device that has, you don't have to have cell service. You don't even have to have a data plan. You could just use Wi-Fi, right? You can get a device that works. I've got 4 of them, old phones that I don't use anymore, but I just simply connect to the Wi-Fi, and I can work them with my Healy and not be bothered by any other function that it has, not worry about no memory, not worry about anything else being open in the background. So that's a really awesome way of using your Healy. Okay.
I've had a lot of folks that have opted to buy the Track, TRAKK, and they're relatively inexpensive, 50, 75 bucks, go wireless with it, where they were having issues with their iPhones or even with their Androids. Samsung, more times than not, that Track phone seems to be doing a really good job. So if someone is looking for a phone to just dedicate Healy use, they may want to explore that option.
I have one of those that I connect to my loaner.
How does that work? Pretty good.
It works fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheap.
I do the same. I have like a little kit that's a loaner kit, right? It's got the phone, it's got the Healy in demo mode, it's got all the connections, it's got everything there. It's a nice little cool little kit, right? And a little instruction sheet. And you know, I give them, you know how it is when you give someone instruction and they get home and they're excited, they maybe listen to you halfway, you know, when you were explaining to them and they get home and they can't remember. It's like a little instruction sheet's always handy.
Great idea.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Here's a follow-up from the earlier question about the spins and spins and spins. When I'm trying to vibrate digital nutrition, but it always does it when I want to scan. So it spins when using the digital nutrition. All right. So in other words, here's the protocol. So someone has first of all chosen a client, maybe yourself. You choose your client. You go to choose a database selection, scroll down, and you choose digital nutrition. Great. You click on digital nutrition, and then you click on scan. It should automatically start scanning. If it's sitting there spinning and spinning and spinning, I would wonder what the Bluetooth connection is like between the hardware, making sure your little blue light is flashing on your Healy. Are there any other things in the background? Okay, so what could be interfering with your Bluetooth connection between your smart device and your Healy? Okay, of course, distance is one of those things, but you know, most of the time we have our Healy right by us. Remember, Healy only has a 32-foot Bluetooth range from the smart device. It's very short. And if it's trying to go through any walls, it's even shorter. And that's because it uses what's called BLE, or Bluetooth low energy. It's very low energy Bluetooth signal. So, you know, again, the reason is for people that are concerned about that Bluetooth signal and any interference with the body. But back to the point is that interference from things on the exterior around you that also use Bluetooth signal, the number of apps that may be open in the background of your device that's trying to access a Bluetooth connection as well. Make sure everything's closed down in the background, everything. You don't need to be checking your email when you're running anything around the blue dot, right? It's not going to work anyway. Make sure everything's closed down, all right? So that it's not trying to do stuff in the background. And just check those things. Send me some feedback on those things so that we can move forward on that. All right. So someone is asking about, they got a Healy in May, and are we keeping the Materia Medica? So there's been a combination, by the way, of some of these databases. The contents of some of these databases have been added. And so the individual entities are still within the scanning capability or using capability of your smart device. But Materia Medica, that one was added to the homeopathy. Let's see, what's it called? It
Digital
is,
homeopathy.
yeah, say that again.
Digital homeopathy, the creative
Yes.
homeopathy.
Yes, thank you, Taylor. Digital homeopathy. Digital homeopathy. So you'll still have it. You'll still have all that content. It's just in that other database. So go to digital homeopathy, and over on the far right of every one of those databases in your Blue Dot app, there's a little blue pencil looking thing. Click on that. That opens up all the contents that are in that database. So if it's digital homeopathy, it's like what, 364. You can go through that list and see what's in there. But my point is it's in all of those, and you can see what's in there. If there was something that you liked in a category that has been combined with something else, to find it, that's how you find it. Okay. Somebody says that their router was 6 years old and it died over the weekend. I'm sorry. Hope you had a good service for it. It was maxed out as far as technology. So having to get a new one. Yeah, I get it. You know, we have to update. And you'll find that typically the bottleneck is the slowest entity on your system. And it's almost always starting with your smart device. A lot of times it's the slowest part. The next one in line, of course, is the router. Nowadays, they have dual mode routers, which is the 2.4 gig and the 5 gig. That's dual mode. And some of the newer devices, eventually, by the way, people, 2.4 is probably going to become obsolete. And so eventually, I'm not saying within the next 2 years or even 5 years, but the point is that's going to wind up being changed, and things are going to have to be on that 5G platform. Okay. Let's see. Gloria says that I have an iPhone 7 Plus with 128 gig. Awesome. Only use it for nothing but Healy. Last update is giving me a blue screen, and suddenly sometimes it won't do anything when I press the fingerprint. Okay. So number one, go in there and do a full sync in your blue dot. Go in your settings, do a full synchronization. Then after you've done a full sync, delete the app and reload it. Reload it. Or you can go to your app store and open it from there, because if there's any updates, it'll pull them in. We want to find out if there's something to do with the app. Typically, especially if you put your finger on the screen and it's not activating the function. So that's a software thing within the app, or a faulty touch screen on your device, but you can test that by just whether it works on anything else, right? Okay. All right. Anything you want to add to that, Freddie?
Yeah, no, I was thinking the same thing. You know, I would actually go into the respective app store and see if that update button is still there. Tap that first, and then if it's not, yeah, go ahead and turn that Bluetooth off, delete the app, reinstall it, and hit that full synchronization in the cloud settings.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to do a full sync before I do any deleting, because if you delete the app and you haven't done a full sync, all of the clients or all the scans or all of the lists that you've generated since your last synchronization are only on the app. So they're not in your cloud. So if there's something that, a new client or a new scan that you just love so much, if you delete the app, it's going to go away. So you want to do a full synchronization first. Again, if that's some of the problems you're having and it won't do it, well, you may have to sacrifice the content just to get it to operate better again, and then rebuild that content. Okay.
Someone is asking, when they log in and use the master key, they get a error code 1 comes up. I haven't seen that before. Have you seen that?
I don't know what an error code 1 is. No. So if they're trying to log in and it's not asking for a master key, where is that? I'm not seeing that one. Well, I'll find it. But when is that error 1 coming up? At what stage in the game? That's important.
I think had to do with putting in the master key after the master key tries to upload.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know exactly what the error code 1 is, but any error code associated with the master key means it did not read it properly or did not load it properly.
And
remember the
taking
master key is a file, not a number you put in. So don't copy and paste anything. Gotta click on the file itself.
Yeah, I was curious too there. I would assume they're talking about import, not saving the master key, that error 1 come up.
Yeah, they're getting a file not accepted error.
Yeah. Okay. File not accepted means that there is a corruption, or in other words, the app is not reading the file that has been pointed to. So when you're importing or pulling in a master key, you're pointing to where that file is. So if you're saying it's on my Google Drive, you're saying it's in my Dropbox, you're saying it's on my smart device, hard drive, whatever you're saying. And so then the app goes there to where you've told it to look, and then it looks for a .json file. So if there's nothing in there that has a .json at the end of it, it's going to say, can't find the file. It's going to say some error. Whatever error is closest to the struggle it's having. And there's many errors in the background. So what an error 1 is, I don't know exactly what that pertains to, but still it's a struggle with it loading the actual file. And it has to, like Stephen said, it's not a code, it's an entire file. So it's looking for a .json. There'll be some code before it and then a .json. And it's going to pull that entire file in and read its contents. And that's just characteristic of the software. And then it's either going to accept it or deny it. And if it's
And
denying
another
it,
thing,
Go
another
ahead.
thing to think about is if that master key is, for example, on the hard drive of that smart device. So in that uploading from the drive into the app, a corruption may have happened, right? But if they backed it up, say to an email, they may want to delete that master key out of their drive and then do reload it from, again, let's say from an email, and go ahead and resave it. That may answer that question if it was the corrupted file, or if that master key just has corrupted, period.
yeah, that's it too. I mean, who knows what gets written to a file on your smart device, but that's why it's such a good idea to have it as an email somewhere offsite. When I say offsite, you may see it on your email on your app, but it lives in a storage in a cloud account somewhere else. So it doesn't get messed with. Okay. So there's somebody that says here, Cynthia says that just wanted to alert someone that even though there appears a way to download files, PDF files, or photo PDF files in a CS ticket, apparently it doesn't reach customer service. Please advise how to send files. Taylor, maybe you've already addressed that. Can you address that?
Yeah, it's a 10 meg on
Yeah.
the size of it is. So you just make sure that it's not, whether it's a JPEG or a PNG file, that it's not exceeding the 10 megabyte.
Yeah. So remember, some of these photos you take on a smart device are 2 gig. That's a lot of meg, by the way. Okay. They're too big. And so, so trying to get those files to upload, they won't. Right? It's a small file. Yeah. That's the thing about our smart devices, that are, I don't know, 8 megapixel, 10 megapixel, 12 megapixel. They create a huge file, by the way. When you take a picture, it's a very big memory file. All right.
So Heather's asking a question here. I don't think we were addressed. Is there a way to delete the old scan results in my client list without losing my client information and pictures? I don't believe that there's an individual delete option in the scans in there. I think, it's all or nothing, really.
Yeah, you can delete a client, but and then of course their scan records go with the client currently, and that's a great idea to be able to clear out maybe somebody's scan list. But everything is attached to a client, so I don't know that there is a separate way. No. Okay. So we already addressed that error code 1. And then looks like Taylor's working on that. All right. So Cynthia's saying it wasn't the size, had similar trouble when trying to send it to Jake. If you're trying to send it to Jake via an email, I promise you, if your file size is too big, it's not going to go. It's one of those things, if it's a video, especially, they're typically too big, and some email handling systems will generate when you send a big file, it'll generate a cloud. It'll put that file in a cloud, in this on the server, generate a link that actually gets forwarded to the recipient, and then the recipient clicks on the link and it will link them to the file. They don't actually transmit the file via the email stream because it's too big. And that's why the most of these things fail. It's size. So so you have to, I mean, with customer service, you could create the ticket, and then if customer service is looking for more data, and then they give you a email that's replyable that you can reply to, then you can create links that you can put within that email. That's really the only solution, and you would have to get customer service to link you in some fashion. Okay. Yeah, so Taylor's addressing that in the link there in the background here about size, the max size for specifics. You can with your software take a photo and create a JPEG, which is a smaller file size. There is software that will limit the size of the file when you build it. When you create it, you'll have to, and if you want to know how to figure that out or where to go to look at that, go to YouTube. Go to YouTube and put in there. You'll hear me say this all the time, and put in there in the search how to shrink a picture file, right? Or something like that. All right.
Yeah, and there's a lot of times just a simple like the Photoshop will allow you to resize it.
Yeah. I love good news here. Gloria says, thank you for the blue screen fix. I'll try it. Yay. Like it when there's some positive things there. Okay. Where are we? Let's see. I just jumped all the way to the end. Sorry if I missed somebody. I'll go back and look, but Heather says, my son doesn't want to wear the wristbands while using the pink dot. Is he still getting frequencies from the Healy if he wears it, the Healy on him? So here's, we've talked about this quite a bit in terms of how the microcurrent versus the coil versus the information field interacts with the body. And Healy itself, when you are running a blue dot or a pink dot program, it's sending the information out of the wire connecting ports on the Healy. It's sending them out on a microcurrent carrier wave. Microcurrent is like the pail, the bucket, or the transport system to move it through your body. And microcurrent is very effective in addressing the cells themselves, increasing ATP production, increasing protein synthesis, increasing amino acid transport. Okay, that's proven science with the microcurrent. And then the microcurrent is just a carrier for the frequencies. And that actually is what's addressing the issues and the tissues and the organs and the systems in the body. So that's that modality. When you use the coil then takes that same microcurrent and transfers it, transduces it into a magnetic signal that then emanates from the proximity of the Healy in roughly about a 3 meter or area. So, but its most intense amplified signal is right here at the Healy itself. So when you wear it on your body, that's where you get the most magnetic energy from the device. Okay, so if you don't want to wear the wristbands, the next modality would be the coil, and running the same microcurrent frequencies through the coil, and then that magnetic energy goes out, and the body's like an antenna that is then receiving the information, decoding the current, and then putting those frequencies into the body. The last phase of that is just using the blue dot, which is then the quantum sensor inside the device is sending the same frequencies, like a frequency generator, out into free space. And just like the butterfly effect, where a butterfly flaps its wings in one region of the planet, infecting or affecting weather patterns in other parts of the region or the planet, Healy's very small frequency transmitter goes everywhere. It sends everywhere omnidirectionally. So it interacts with the information field, the electron field, and speaking to your particular needs, the client's needs. So the same time when you're running the pink dot and you don't have any leads connected, no coil connected, the quantum sensor is still active and still sending those frequencies out of the quantum sensor, AKA noise generator. So if they're running the pink dot app and they just have the Healy on, so yes, it's going to be having the similar effect as the blue dot, except it's going globally. There's no intention assigned to the pink dot when it's sending those frequencies out. The only way an intention is designed is when you're connected via the electrodes or the magnetic waves coming out of the coil. When you're just running it out of the noise generator, there's really no intention, and it's only based on proximity. So the individual is going to get it for yes. There's just different levels of or degrees of interaction with the body. You guys want to add anything to that?
I think you pretty much nailed it.
So Patty's having troubles with her sync getting past 3% no matter how long she waits. I hear you. It's quite possible that right now is not a good time to do it. I'm just saying that perhaps it's access to the server. That's one possibility. The next possibility is what I mentioned before. Everything from your data stream with your smart device to the cloud, which is going to involve your router, or even the smart device and it's the work it's doing at the moment. So just if you want to optimize your ability to do this, okay. So Patty says she's been trying for months. All right, then yeah, this is not normal. What you're experiencing is not normal. It's something to do with the either the synchronization between the data output on the app and the CPU and the way it interfaces with your smart device, or it's still within the database transfer of your device. So what can you do? Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to do a synchronization before deleting the app. But one thing you can do is start from the outside and work in. Go ahead, Freddie.
Yeah, no, I was going to say Patty, you may want to go into the cloud settings, scroll to the bottom where you see that full synchronization. And if you see the automatic sync that is on, enabled, go ahead and disable it. I don't know exactly how that works, but I do know that when we've turned it off, it tends to allow that syncing process to go ahead and complete.
Yeah, that's another great way to do it. Turn that off. The other thing is to making sure that whatever your data plan is, whatever your, try it with the Wi-Fi off. You can even try in airplane mode, because airplane mode, no, never mind. Don't do that.
You could always check on speedtest.net on the app or on the website and see exactly how fast your connection is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she says also that auto sync has been turned off. So that's good. The next thing is you work from the outside inward. So you check your device, your smart device. You see, okay, looks like I've got access to my data plan. Looks like I've got something on my services on. Go to the your internet. What's your speed there? If it's still a fast internet connection, the smart device itself, you can go and take a look at the data transfer rate at the smart device, not so much at your computer, because you can look on your computer and it can be accessing the same router, and it may have a different rate. It will have a different rate than your smart device. So you got to make sure what's happening at the location of the smart device itself. And if all things look like it's fine, then you're going to need to delete that app. I mean, there's something that's not interfacing with with the CPU, the interface with the smart device. Something is not syncing with the hardware and the software. I don't know what that is. Okay.
Yeah, I'm curious if that's an Android or an Apple phone that she's using and what the age of it is. That may have a little bearing as well.
Yeah, take a look. Like I said, you step one, check your smart device. You know, is it up to date? Are the settings right? If that's all good, then you have to work from the outside backwards in. And then again, all the access for data transfer. But you know, last resort, I always do last resort is to delete that app and start over, which is, you know, so she's got an Apple 11, Apple iPhone 11.
Yeah, I have the same phone and I'm not having those kind of issues.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about the watch, of course, that's a, you know, different app that you're going to be using for that. And if you're having issues with different areas of the watch not functioning, not giving you the either correct data, you may want to go in the watch app and do a factory reset and then go back in there and make sure everything is reset to your liking.
Yeah, I know there was a firmware update on the watch that addressed this sleep tracking mechanism or the hardware. And so if you can sync with the app, which it's just a Bluetooth connection, it should be able to, the watch should be able to sync with the app, check on a firmware update, make sure everything's up to date, and then retest your device. Cynthia's asking if there is, if you registered for the wrong frequency Friday that we had today, is there a way to look at the meeting recording? No, but you can find somebody that did get registered and use their link. It'll get posted in the Telegram group, and so you'll get it eventually. But that's another way to do it, is find somebody who was on it. Hey, send me your link.
Are they posting those in the YouTube channel as well?
I've not seen them in the YouTube channel. No,
Yeah, I haven't either.
not yet. We put them on the Telegram group though. So make sure, Cynthia, that you are a member of the Telegram group. I highly suggest you tell everybody to make sure you're a member of the Telegram group, because that's the biggest, the most, I don't know, the most faithful space in which we put a lot of this stuff, right? So. So again, and so there's another comment here that, remember that today's Frequency Friday for the USA was not a webinar jam, so it didn't actually get a registration. It was just a Zoom call, and so that recording will be placed out there. So for that call, you won't actually get a link, or there is no link that's associated with your registration, because that was not a webinar jam. It was a Zoom. Okay. All right. And like I said, everybody, encourage all of your teammates, including making sure yourself is a part of the Team Healy USA Telegram group. There's no restrictions to join. You just go on, find that group and just add yourself. If you find there are some Telegram accounts that can't actually add themselves to groups, that's some of your privacy settings. Go in there and check your privacy settings, open that up, your ability to do so. If you still can't do it, let one of the administrators know within the Telegram group, which I'm one of, and we will get you on there, through, we can actually add you directly. Okay. Let's see. I will put the Telegram link here in the chat. So where are you?
Hey, Ken, I'm going to have to step off here a few minutes early tonight. I got a family call I need to make here. So it was a pleasure as always. Stephen, it was a pleasure seeing you here again. It's been a while.
No, my schedule's been a lot different since I've been in California. I typically have a scheduled thing on Tuesday exactly at this time. So
wow. Well,
awesome.
I'm super grateful for you guys being here. Thanks a lot, Freddie, for being here.
Thanks everyone.
All
Y'all
right.
have a blessed rest of your evening. Talk to y'all soon. Bye
Thanks,
now.
Freddie. See ya.
Okay, so let's see. I'm not able to grab that Telegram group. Let's see, where is it? No,
How
that's
do you
not
get
it.
on the Telegram group? You want me to post the Telegram group link?
Yeah, could you, Stephen? I'm trying to find
I'll
it.
work on that and you work on the other stuff. Yeah, I can get it real easy.
Okay, cool. Stephen's gonna put the Telegram link in the chat so you guys can jump on that. Let's see. So Isabel says, I saw Doc Steve's link in for the Frequency Friday. That was a Vimo. Thought that was the link for the call. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. And there are different levels of awareness, and there isn't one out there that I believe is defined by stupidly. So it's just various levels of awareness. Sometimes we see something at one awareness and later on it goes, oh, wow, that was silly. But no, it's we link onto stuff that makes sense in the moment. But we'll get you the recording so you'll be able to check it out. All right.
I put that link in there. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. There you guys go. So there's the Team Healy USA Telegram group. You can click on that and then go directly to that group and add yourself. Now, let me give you guys a little hint at the bottom of the chat right there at the far bottom right. There's 3 little dots. If you click on those 3 little dots, that will give you the opportunity to save the chat to your computer. If you're on your phone right now, sorry, you won't be able to do it. But if you're on your computer, you click on those 3 little dots and there'll be a spot on there that says save chat. And then you'll have that link forever. All right. Tom's a great question here. Does an individual's information field persist after death? Now, this is a great question. Does it make any sense to use resonance on a client who has passed away? So this is a great question, because understand that death is simply a transport, right? The soul, the awareness is timeless. There is an information field that houses all content of awareness, and then certain portions of that awareness. Again, this is a belief structure, everybody. This is my belief structure and my understanding. So there is an awareness that chooses to become a life form in the human realm and then come here to do these lives. And it could be multiple. So even in death, that energy or that awareness doesn't ever go away. So you can certainly send frequencies and information to that awareness. Now, is it the same person that was in this life? It's going to carry the same memories, the same content, the same experiences. So does it make sense? If it makes sense to you, then absolutely. I mean, death is just a moment of transfer. It's not an end. Okay. Let's see. One last question here. Tina's asking, if I cannot log into Blue app, how do I get the master key? If you can't log into the Blue Dot app, well, that's a great question. Because if you don't have it in an email form somewhere within your email platform, or if you haven't saved it somewhere on a Google Drive or Dropbox, there should not be any reason that you can't log into your Blue Dot, because that's just simply your credentials in which your account was established on, email address and a password. So if you're not able to get in with an email address and a password, you can reset that account again via that login.
Yeah, occasionally some people have been having, if you have issues with your login, I mean, see if you can log on to the website. If you can log on the website, then you should also be able to log into your Blue Dot app.
Yeah, absolutely. And Isabel is asking about, do we get to keep the well-being programs? If you still have them, awesome. I know it was supposed to be a 90-day thing. Just don't say nothing. Just keep using them. Okay. The idea was they were for 90 days, but if you still have them and you love them, keep using them. I couldn't tell you for sure when it's going to end. All right, guys, we got to wrap it up. We are at the end of our session. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. We will be here again next week. If we didn't answer your question this time, please join us again next week. Stephen, thank you so much for your help. I appreciate you. And Taylor in the background, you rock. I appreciate you a bunch. So I'll stop this recording.